Welcome to this episode of Real Producers Partners Podcast. I'm David Owen of Changescape Web, and each episode we speak with a Real Producers partner to learn more about them and their business. Today I'm joined by Andrew Sims with SentriLock. Welcome, Andrew.
Thanks, David. Glad to be here.
Let's begin and tell everyone as we start, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So best way to get a hold with me or anybody else from the SentriLock team is right from our website, SentriLock.com. So if you're looking at our products, interested in learning more, there's a contact form there. There's a contact sales form on our website, and we check our email religiously here.
Great. So why don't you give us a little history of SentriLock? Quite honestly, from my perspective, I have never heard of you guys till we decided to get together and do this. So give me a little history.
Sure, I will try to give you the abridged version here, but SentriLock started 20 years ago, just over 20 years ago. Last year was actually our 20th anniversary of being founded in 2003. And it came out of a necessity from the real estate industry that at the time, there was only one prominent player when it came to lock boxes, key boxes for real estate, and electronic key boxes. And the industry was really much interested in fostering competition and innovation. And so our founder and still CEO, Scott Fisher, founded the company with him and a couple of business partners, and ended up actually, long story short, going to the National Association of Realtors to ask for a strategic investment in the company. And when they did so, they really caught the attention of the leadership team there at NAR, who said, "Hey, yeah, we'll help bring this to market." And so for the next, 8 years, the response from the industry was overwhelming, with people who wanted to convert to our products and be a part of the kind of growing SentriLock family, and so much success that in 2010, 2011, NAR acquired SentriLock 100%. So we are owned 100% by the National Association of Realtors. We're operated completely separately as a separate entity, but we are part of the NAR footprint, which has been great. It's been great in helping us from a business development standpoint to kind of be a part of the realtor fabric and the realtor community, as well as all the other real estate communities that exist beyond just single family residential homes. I have a unique position, having come to SentriLock from association and multiple listing service management. So before I came to SentriLock, I was actually a customer of SentriLock. My two organizations that I was the CEO of use SentriLock in our marketplace as our electronic lockbox provider. So I have a very unique vantage point of SentriLock and its services and how they impact the real estate process and transaction process for consumers.
So realtors should know who you are.
We hope so. That's obviously as the head of marketing and revenue and sales, I hope everybody knows who we are. Yeah. But at the same time, there's 1.5 million realtors and counting out in the world here in the United States. And so, there's obviously the chance that somebody doesn't know who we are. But I think, for the most part, we're in just about all 50 states. I think there's only maybe one or two states that we don't have a customer in, which means that we're at state real estate shows, we're at the national conventions and stuff that go on. So if they don't use us, they definitely have probably heard of us or have worked in a market. Sometimes we'll get people who have us in Chicago, but they see us down in Florida and they're like, "Oh, I love you guys in Chicago. You should come to Florida." And we're like, "Yes, bring us to Florida."
Yeah. So how would realtors work with you all? I mean, is it just on a day-to-day kind of approach, or is it more strategic in that?
Yeah, I think the way that we describe our business model is that we really are a kind of enterprise software solution, right? And we work through the Association of Realtor and multiple listing service providers there in the local markets, right? So I'll use one of our customers in Huntsville, Alabama. I'm from Alabama here. We would go in, we would work with their leadership team to have a conversation about why our solution we feel is better for them and their members. And then there will be some kind of deciding board of directors or technology task force that will view our products. And typically, I'd say 99% of the time, that's how we go into a marketplace and begin becoming the service that realtors use. And so to answer your question, yeah, realtors may use us every single day, right? They schedule an appointment through our showing service, or they use our lockbox in order to gain access to the home for their buyer that they're giving a property tour for. But we also work with rental management companies that use us as part of their self-touring technology. So there's rental management companies out there today. Companies like Showing Hero is a really great partner for us, where they will basically build our hardware API into their software. And that way, if there's people that are coming to look at rentals, short-term rentals, tenant screening, all those types of processes, they can gain access to the property through our hardware technology. So, realtors may see us on a lot of different fronts. They may see us on the rental side. They may see us on the resale side. But like I was saying, traditionally, how we enter into a marketplace is through the kind of governing body that's in that marketplace for real estate.
Okay. All right. So do you work with just realtors, or sounds like it's broader than that?
Yeah, very much so, and growing. I think we're absolutely growing into other spaces where doors need keys, right? And keys need a place to be housed, and there needs to be a trackable digital solution where those analytics can live, right? How long people were in a property. So, we're working with everything from managing access to computer server closets across multiple site facilities, all the way to working with, like I said, short-term rentals. I'd say 80%, 90% of our daily business is supporting and innovating within the realtor client relationship space. That's, again, our owners are inside of that space, so we're inside of that space, right? And we spend a lot of time growing, and we've grown immensely in the realtor world over the last 3 years that I've been here. We've added over 40 new marketplaces, which is just outstanding kind of hockey stick growth. Adding almost 70,000 realtors to our active daily users. But like you said, it's broad in the sense that some people who may use our stuff are property managers that are working with tenants, prospective tenants and daily tenants, working with maintenance people that are coming to do repairs in multifamily apartment units. So there's a whole world of access out there. I tell people all the time, there's a lot of doors to manage in the world.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So you mentioned the lockbox, and these are the lock boxes that are hanging on the door handle for a house that's on the market, correct?
Yep. That's kind of, and people always ask me, who's your competitor out there? And I always tell them, there are several electronic lockbox providers that are out there, but the biggest thing that I feel like we have to combat is people using mechanical dial boxes. Now, again, I realize it may be cheaper to go to Home Depot and buy a $10, $15 little lock, but I really urge realtors to think about the technology that they're implementing for their customer, right? Their client. If I were listing my house, I'd want to know who was in it. I'd want to know when they came, how long they were there. If something went missing, I'd like to know that David was the last person there. Let me call David. Or if the key didn't get put back into the box, right. In the year 2024, there's just no reason why we're not all using something that provides us with data and allows us to better serve the clients that we're all using. So when people kind of ask, who are you battling against? I'm like, well, usually I'm battling against kind of apathy against electronic lock boxes, and trying to convince people that using the best technology they can to protect the most important asset that their client has in their life should be a no-brainer, right? So, sure. So that's what's important to me.
To me, that sounds like added value from a realtor perspective. So
100%.
you can ensure or you can track activity in your house when you're not necessarily there, but it's on the market.
Yeah, and I think it's added value from both a buyer agent and a seller agent perspective.
Right.
From the seller agent, you look like the rock star that's using the best technology available, that, you know, when they've chosen to sell through a realtor rather than a for sale by owner or some other, you know, iBuyer or some other type of company, they're choosing you because they believe you are the best pathway to making that transaction occur. So
Yep.
that means you should be wanting to bring the best technology to the table in order for them to get that done. But I also think the value added from our system for buyers agents is also massive too. I mean, we're at a very unique time in the history of real estate, I think, where people are, you know, both smartly and wildly speculating about what happens to buyers agency in the years to come, right? As commission lawsuits and all these other things and settlements and all these other things are being talked about. But when I talk to the most successful realtors in my network, the people who are making millions of dollars a year because they're successful in what they do, none of these people are worried about the future. In fact, they are embracing the future. They're excited about the future because I think they know that it's really going to separate the cream from the crop, you know, if you know what I mean. And all of these people have in their toolbox technology and tools that allow them to look like the rock stars they are when they're working with buyers and people who want a counselor in the biggest transaction that they'll ever make in their lives.
Sure.
And so we want to position our product to be more than just a way to get a key, but to actually be the key to the transaction, where data's there in their hands. We're syncing with the MLS. We're bringing other products into the app that provide different viewpoints and data for them to provide to their client.
So you kind of already answered my next question, which was, how's the industry changes that are occurring affect you all?
I think it's one of those things that you're constantly aware of. I mean, you can't read the trade pubs without seeing opinions or speculation or stories. But at the end of the day, you know, the reason that I have loved and do love working with realtors is that I love being with entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs have to wake up every day unemployed, as they say, and figure out a way to make it work. And this industry will make it work. And what this means for us is that we have to be a part of what comes next. We have to be a part of where the industry is going. And if that means that, you know, the role and responsibility and requirements for being a buyer's agent is going to evolve, then we have to as well. And I think that's what, you know, for people who aren't familiar with our corporate structure and kind of where we're at, you know, we're being privately owned, and meaning that we have a lot of freedom to innovate and do what we do, is very different from a lot of the other people in our space who are possibly owned by large multi-billion-dollar conglomerates, where they're a piece of the wheel, they're a piece of the cog. And there's this kind of sense of trickle down innovation, right? Where, you know, you'll get yours when it's time, but where with us, we feel like we can be very nimble. And some of the biggest innovations from our product have come directly from the realtor community and directly from the users that are using the product every day. And because of the way that we're structured as a business, we're able to execute on those things very quickly. Whereas, as you know, in a giant corporation, it's very hard to do that. So in terms of battling these kind of things that will happen in the industry and as they change, I think because of the way that we're sitting here, we're going to be able to react very quickly. And we're already doing things. We've been doing things in preparation for this moment for the last 3 years since I came on. And having been, I was the CEO of one of the organizations that were part of the lawsuit. So I've been intimately involved with this lawsuit for longer than both of my children have been alive. So I feel like I've got a good feel of kind of where things have been, where they're going. And as a friend of mine said on Facebook, skate where the puck is going. So I think we're doing that, and we're heading in that direction.
Yeah.
That exhausts my hockey knowledge, but that's what I've got.
So obviously, you can't predict the future, but it's nice to be involved in the organization that is affecting the future.
I couldn't say it better myself, David. You know, there are obviously pros and cons to every business relationship. There's always things that you want to improve upon, but I think NAR has been a great partner for us, both past and current leadership that is there. You know, Bob Goldberg, the former CEO, was a massive supporter of us. And Nikia, who is the current CEO at NAR, is a great supporter of us as well, and they both and the staff see us as a very critical member service and a member engagement tool. So I think, you know, we're at a very good position to continue to do what we do best, and that is support realtors who are the best way to make homeownership happen.
Okay. So are there other industries that can benefit from your offerings?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've said a couple times here on this conversation that you know, there are tons of realtors out there that are also moonlighting as property managers and short-term rental owners and vacation rental owners. And you know, you don't need a massive subscription to work with us. You know, we try to find the right people. You know, one lockbox here or there is not really what we look to do, but, you know, companies that are managing, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20 properties and up, you know, those are really great customers for us, because it means that you can work inside of our access management system, you know, assign codes, assign app users, all the things that you need to do within the system, you have available to you and your team if you're managing properties across a portfolio. So we love working with property managers and what they're doing, as well as a lot of the major software providers, Rently, Tenant Turner, Showing Hero, a number of other ones that are out there. You know, we have good kind of affiliate partner relationships with.
So can you get it? How do you get a demo or an intro into your product?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said at the beginning of the show, the best way to learn about us is to go to our website. In fact, we're launching a brand new look to our website this week. And it's going to really streamline the ability for people to get right to what they want, whether that's the learning more about the real estate side of the product, or jumping right into our property management tools and learning about the property management side of our company. You know, the best way for a realtor who is in a marketplace that does not currently use our product is to give us a call and let us know how we can support you. In fact, one of our real producer markets that we're in, the conversation started because one agent got in touch with us. We actually worked to help co-host a real producer event there locally.
Okay.
And it just kind of snowballed from there. You know, we love supporting the industry. I learned about real producers when I was the CEO in Dayton, Ohio for the association there. And I see them as a great channel partner for us because they're celebrating realtors and the realtor accomplishments. And that's what we want to do as well.
Sure.
But just that one conversation from that person in that marketplace has now led to demos with the board of directors of the association and all the things that we like to do in order to try and get ourselves as the preferred partner in that market.
That sounds fantastic. It sounds like you got a lot of things going on.
Yes, there is a lot. There's quite a bit. Whenever I sit here and think, you know, okay, I've got this covered and handled. It's I do a conversation like this, and I realize just how much we've been doing over the last couple of years, and how great our growth has been. But you know, at the end of the day, no matter how big we grow, no matter how many markets bring us on, you know, we always want to stay true to the people that rely on us. And, you know, that's why we celebrate things like 97% call satisfaction in our call center. I just got a stat yesterday from our CEO that greater than 77% of the support calls that came into SentriLock had 0 wait time in 2024 so far, which is just massive. If you're standing on the front porch with a client, you don't have 3 minutes, 5 minutes to stay on hold and listen to elevator music. So that right there is a massive ROI for any organization that is serving members and providing a service for members should take into account. You want to look like a rock star, deliver rock star service, and that's what we do.
Absolutely. There's probably a lot of companies out there that could take some notes from that.
Yeah. Hey, I've sat on a lot of call waits before where I'm like, will somebody please answer this phone?
Yeah. Please answer so we can get going.
Right.
Well, that's great. So again, as long as we're talking here, share the best way to get a hold of you.
Yeah, go to www.SentriLock.com. And from that page, you'll see two options. One of them is get access. And so you click on that and it takes you to our contact the sales team. You'll see the bright and shining faces of our regional reps. So we have reps that are divided up amongst the Southeast, the Midwest and Northeast, as well as the kind of flyover and West Coast states. Find your state, find your person that represents your state and region, shoot them an email, and let them know what you're interested in, whether it's from a property management standpoint or, hey, you're a realtor in a marketplace that doesn't use us and you'd love for us to come to your market. And then let's talk. Let's figure out what that looks like. Does it mean hosting an agent event in your market? Does it mean bringing some people together for lunch or supper? Whatever it is, but that's the best way to start the conversation is to get in touch with us through the website.
Sure.
Like I said, we answer email religiously.
Well, I think the ability to get a hold of people is critical these days because there's so many options out there that at least they feel there's so many options.
Right.
And attention gets disrupted constantly.
Yes.
The marketplace is noisy.
It is, and there's a lot to do in a day, and not everything centers around business, or I hope it doesn't.
Well, we can only hope. You never know.
Right.
You never know. So is there anything else that you want to share with the audience?
I think as a closing note here, I would just encourage everybody listening that works in real estate or supports real estate from a admin position or any type of career. I know that it may be a tough time right now, and it has been tough. We've dealt with historically low inventory. We've dealt with rapidly changing interest rates and prices. There's just a lot of variables out there. If you entered into the real estate industry in the last 5 years, it's a very different real estate market than if you entered 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Or for those of you who are listening who remember the 2008 and remember the really crazy times. But what I want to remind everybody is that organized real estate in the United States has been around for 100+ years. And there are very few industries in the world that have seen and weathered so much like real estate. If you think back, some of the first boards of realtors were founded in 1903 and 4 and 5, right?
Wow.
So these are organizations that were around before the First World War. There were, which is absolutely crazy to think about.
Exactly.
But when you think about all the innovation and all the societal and cultural and government and so many changes that have occurred in the last 120 years, it really is both inspiring and reassuring that no matter what storm comes to the front gate of real estate, realtors are a very resilient group, and they are a very hardworking and honest group of people. And as I always like to say, this too shall pass. And there'll be changes, there'll be things that happen, but having great partners in your business that you can rely on, that will never change. And that's where I think we are most excited about what we do, is that we feel we're the best possible partner that realtors can have in their business at any given time. It works, it's smart, it's simple to use, and it provides safety from both an agent safety standpoint as well as a business safety standpoint.
Well, I think you're right on the first two. It works and it's simple.
Yeah.
That would be, that would be what I would want.
That's 90% of the demo, David.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, and if it actually does what the demo shows, there's a difference between demo and reality sometimes.
Right. Right. I
But
tell my sales reps, 80% of that demo is that box opening, and the other 20% is making them fall in love with you.
exactly. Exactly. That's sales 101.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great, David. I really appreciate the time, and I could sit here for 2 hours and talk about SentriLock, but you don't have that time.
Well, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate learning about this, because one of the best parts about doing this is I learn how things work in the marketplace that I never get involved in.
Yeah.
So this is great. And I want to
Perfect.
thank you for your time and sharing all your knowledge with us.
Not a problem. I've looked forward to it.
Okay. Thanks much.